to apologize for the delay in getting started. We met in closed session twice today. We have a number of items before the council that needed to be addressed in closed session. We apologize for delaying you, and we want you to know we do appreciate your time. With that, we will get started and ask for the city clerk to please call the roll.
Mayor Pro Tem,
Present.
Mayor Villegas Walker,
Here.
Councilmember Cardenas,
Present.
and Councilmember Sanders.
Here. Thank you. At this time, if you would all please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance and remain standing for the invocation.
Please join me in saluting our flag. Ready, begin.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Let's go ahead and pray. Father God, thank you again for this time, Lord. We're just grateful that we can come here before you and seek your wisdom, Father God. And Lord, I just ask that you would lift up this council, or lift up our council members, our public safety employees, and our city employees, and also our residents, Father God. We just lift them up today in your name.
Amen. Thank you. At this time, we will ask our city attorney, Ms. Becker, to please report out on our closed sessions.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. On a motion by Councilmember Sanders, second by Councilmember Cardenas, the City Council met in closed session at 11:31 a.m. Mayor Pro Tem Silva and Councilmembers Cardenas and Sanders were present. Mayor Vegas Walker was absent at this time, but she did participate in the closed session when it
Excuse me, Chris. Is the mic on? Chris's mic on? Because I could barely hear her.
I'm sorry. Do you want me to start over?
No.
Okay. She did participate in the closed session when it was reconvened at 5:05 p.m. Councilmember Jackson was absent from all closed sessions. A report was given to council on the anticipated litigation item. There is no action to report, but direction was given to staff. With regard to the pending litigation entitled City of El Centro et al. Versus David Lanier et al., and the case number and venue are on the agenda, there is no action to report, but direction was given to staff. On a motion by Councilmember Cardenas, seconded by Councilmember Sanders, the City Council adjourned closed session at 11:45 a.m. On a motion by Councilmember Cardenas, seconded by Councilmember Sanders, the members of the successor housing agency to the El Centro Redevelopment Agency met in closed session at 11:45 a.m. Vice Chairman Silva and members Cardenas and Sanders were present. Chairman Vegas Walker and member Jackson were absent. The successor housing agency met with its real property negotiators, Ruben Duran, city manager, and Marcela Piedra, economic development director, and heard a report regarding lease purchase negotiations for the property located at 332 Willow Bend Drive. There is no final action to report, but direction was given to staff. The successor housing agency closed session concluded at 11:56 a.m. On a motion by Councilmember Cardenas, second by Councilmember Sanders, the City Council reconvened in closed session at 11:56 a.m. Mayor Villegas Walker and Councilmember Jackson were not present when closed session reconvened. There was an added item to closed session as the need to take action could not reasonably wait until the next regularly scheduled meeting. Moved by Councilmember Sanders, seconded by Councilmember Cardenas to add the anticipated litigation significant exposure to agency item to the closed session agenda. Motion carried unanimously 3-0 with Mayor Vegas Walker and Councilmember Jackson absent. A report was given by staff in regard to the added item. Direction was given to staff with no action to report. Fire Chief Ken Herbert and Battalion Chief Cedric Cesenia participated in the report. I swear I'm almost done. On a motion by Councilmember Cardenas, second by Councilmember Sanders, the City Council adjourned closed session at 12:35 p.m. On a motion by Councilmember Sanders, second by Councilmember Silva, the City Council reconvened closed session at 5:05 p.m. All council members were present at this time except Councilmember Jackson, with Councilmember Cardenas arriving at 5:17 p.m. Council met with its labor relations negotiators, Ruben Duran, City Manager, and Terry Brownlee, Human Resources Director, concerning labor matters. There are agreements with all department heads and all unrepresented groups coming out of closed session for approval. Direction was given to staff with respect to further negotiations with groups that have not settled, and Fire Chief Ken Herbert participated in the discussion of one unit, and there are no other items to report on labor negotiations. Closed session concluded at 6:10 p.m., and gratefully, this is the end of my report.
Thank you. Any questions or comments for Ms. Becker? Thank you. All right, we are going to move on to the first action item, our first item on the agenda, which is a presentation and announcement by the mayor. And it is absolutely my delight and thrill. I mean, this is a wonderful event. We get to recognize the Central Union High School Spartan Girls Softball Team, the CIF, and their CIF championship title. So what I'd like to do is have the entire team come forward along with your coach, and I see the athletic director here. Do we have other representatives from the school district present? All right, ladies, please come forward so that we can recognize you. Right here. And what I would like you to do is, as you come forward and line up, I'd like you to face the audience, and I'd like you to each introduce yourself. Okay? Ready? All the way here. I'd like you to introduce yourself. Let us know what level you are in school, if you've graduated as a senior, so we can figure out how strong we're going to be next year when we come back with all this bench strength. And also what position you played and the highlight of that championship game. So, where would we like to start? Ms. Montalvo?
I'm athletic director at Centro. I'm so proud to be here. Back in 2001, just a little bit of history. I was a coach, and I had a young player that was my player. And so we made it to the semifinals, and we lost in that game. So as the semifinals were happening this year, I went up to that certain player who was now the head coach, and I reminded her of where we were back in 2001, and we were both hoping that the turnout of that game would be much different than it was 2 years back. And it definitely was. I'm so proud of Coach Guzman being a former coach of hers, and now trying to see what she has done with the program. And the last time that Central won a state championship was back in 1977.
Wow.
When Emma Jones, who was our board president, was the coach at that time, and the girls made history this year in that 2 female sport teams at Central won state championships. That's never been done before, so I'm very proud of these young ladies.
Yay.
My name is Marisa Guzman-Chizzi, and I'm the head coach at Centro. I have 2 very awesome assistant coaches that help me out. We're also family. Clarissa was also part of our 2001 team that went to semifinals, so we were there together at one point. I will tell you the most special moment about the game was the fact that these young women, they had fought 7 games to get to where they were, and they fought every single one of them together, and they came together as a team, and so that was very, very inspiring, not only for our program, but very inspiring for them as individuals and as teammates.
Did you want to introduce your mom?
Oh, what? Sure. My mom is Rachel Guzman. She works under Mrs. Marcella at, it's different now, economic redevelopment. I don't know.
Close enough.
But it's a different name. But that is my mom, and she's worked in the city for lots and lots of years.
Yay. Okay.
Hi, I'm Sylvia Santos. I'm one of the assistant coaches, mostly specializing in the pitching with the pitchers. My favorite part of the game, or the most memorable, I guess, was the last pitch. Really clinched the win, and I guess favorable highlight was our second baseman, Ashley, wherever you are. Amazing catch. Amazing.
My name is Clarissa Maldonado. I'm assistant coach. Works mostly with the defense, infield, and hitting. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to make the last 3 games of the season. I had a family trip to Alaska. My sister's a breast cancer survivor now. So when I got the text message, I woke everybody up at home and let them know that we were CIF champs. So that was pretty awesome to be able to get the news traveled all the way over there. My sister was also part of that 2001 softball team back years from now.
Hi, my name is Cassie Orozco, and I'm the senior this year, and I played third base. And I think the most memorable highlight was the catch that our second baseman made.
Yay.
Oh, I mean, I played shortstop. That's why I said third base.
My name is Tatiana Glass. I am now a sophomore, and in the CIF game,
had hurt my leg. Hi, my name is Kevin Rapp. I'm going to be a senior, and the most thing that I thought was amazing was the cat and also how everybody stuck together. And if everybody didn't stick together, I don't think we would have one best team.
My name is Jerry Silva, and I played catcher, and I'm going to be a junior. And the most memorable moment was Jay being a really good pitcher during the game and the catch.
Hi, my name is Dan Boss. I'm now a sophomore. I was a freshman running the game, and the most memorable moment was the last play.
Hi, my name's Paula Google, and I'm going to be a sophomore next year. And I would say backup just in case you need help. And the best highlight was the final pitch because seeing Jay come through was great. Hi, my name's Ashley. I played second base. I graduated. My most memorable.
I think we all know. I think we all know, but go ahead.
That she caught the ball.
My most memorable moment was the last pitch.
Hi, I'm Bailey, and I played right field, and I'm going to be a junior. And my most memorable moment was to see my pitcher come through because she had a rough game where we lost, and she overcame her nervousness, and she pulled through for us, and it was exciting to run up to the field and hug everyone after she threw the ball and get shots from her out.
Hi, my name is Kenna Sanchez. I'm going to be a senior this year. I played third base, but I didn't play the last 3 games. But the most memorable about that day was, the whole day, was seeing my team, since I wasn't able to play, come through and win it for not just me, not just for the seniors, but for all of us as a team.
My name's Mariana. My name's Mariana Verdugo, and Marty for short. I didn't play, but I think just seeing the girls push through was really awesome. And then Jay's really awesome. Yeah.
My name is Alyssa Patero. I played Centro, and the most memorable moment was when we won the game and we were just hugging each other, like celebrating.
Hey, I'm Jayla McLean, otherwise known as Jay. And the whole game is kind of like a blur to me. I don't really. I remember some parts. I remember like being in the dugout, and I remember going, and then I remember coming back and just like having them all for sport. But the most memorable thing is probably after the game, like realizing that we actually won, and just being with them.
Awesome.
Awesome.
Congratulations. I know that the council members have some comments and want to offer their congratulations. Mr. Silva?
Yes, thank you. Congratulations to all of you. You know, I'm sorry I wasn't there, but can somebody describe that catch that the second baseman made? Show it. Give us a little. No, really. I mean, give us the demonstration because it sounds like it was incredible.
Were you like backing up? Was it like a stretch to the side? Catch it between your legs?
Catch behind the back.
Yeah, please.
This is how I had to see it. I saw a video clip on Facebook. It was about 3 minutes long. It was the last batter. Bases loaded, 2 outs, full count. So it was that last pitch, and the game we lost, the second game we played, was kind of the same situation, except the other team got a base hit. They scored and won in 8 innings. So it was kind of like intense, super intense, obviously, but to go through the seventh inning, base loaded, 2 outs, you know.
Was it a line drive that she caught, or?
That was a little blurred to me because it was through a phone video, so somebody's going to have to describe that part.
Is it a pop-up?
It was a pop-up, and it was quite a, like, it was a pretty long run, and the whole time I was thinking, like, Bailey pitched right, and I was like, Bailey, get it, oh, like, Bailey, get it.
Yes. So some of you guys know that I have very strong bonds to Centro High School, having served on their board, and my children having attended there, and they all play sports. So I know how hard you guys worked, and all of you guys are coming back. Do we have any seniors that graduated? Couple of them. So this is going to be a repeat next year, sounds like. So congratulations to all of you.
Very strong, awesome.
Yeah, I just want to give congratulations to the team. We're just so proud. Coach Nugent, what an incredible program. And to have 2 CIF championships is incredible. I know there's actually a couple ladies that were on the basketball team as well. And these ladies have been playing sports or been playing competitive sports since about November all the way through the end of the softball season. So those, I think, is it a couple ladies? This is your second championship, right? I know Jay, and so 2 of you are championship CIF champions in not only basketball but in softball. But incredible to be able to win and keep your grades up and do all those other different things is incredible. You have made me so proud, and I am glad that I'm a part of this. So congratulations to you, ladies.
Thank you.
To the young ladies who were the champions, to your parents who instilled in you that competitive spirit, and for the fact that you were able to succeed makes everyone proud. I want to compliment the management team, the coaches, and all of you who made sure that these young ladies knew how to back up and actually catch a fly ball. And then when you're not sure if you can get it, call to your neighbor and say, catch, catch, catch. I just applaud all of you for all of your outstanding efforts. And it takes a lot of courage to come up here and stand and tell us all the things you've done. And it makes us proud to be able to recognize you this evening. So thank you for coming.
So my mother-in-law, my husband, and both of my boys graduated from Central Union High School. So I have, as Mr. Silva was saying, have a great affinity for the school. And my husband serves as a current member of the Board of Trustees. All of that aside, though, I cannot tell you guys how proud I am. As it's been said, you've made not only the school proud, but this entire community. And by entire community, I mean all of Imperial Valley. For you guys to go to the coast and kick butt like you did was remarkable, remarkable. And, there's tons of research out there that talks about the importance of athletics and how that builds character. You're already successful, but it also has been demonstrated that you're going to be more likely to be successful in your careers, in your relationships, in your schoolwork as you continue to move forward. So you're to be congratulated for this. Parents, coaches, Ms. Nugent as the athletic director, remarkable. All of the parents' time that gets invested in you. I'm sure that you've said thank you 100,000 times to your parents. I was a swimmer when I was in school, and we practiced at 5 o'clock in the morning. And it wasn't until I had my own children that I thought, holy moly, I won't say that again. Holy moly, my mom put in an awful lot of time getting me to the pool for twice-a-day practices. And maybe took me a little while just because I'm a little slow sometimes, but to really give her that thank you and to let her know that she was key to my success. And I hope that each and every one of you have had the opportunity to do that with the adults that matter to you in your lives. Last thing I'd like to say is we are really excited for next year. So many of you coming back. Those that are moving on to bigger and better things. Ashley, do you know what your plans are for next year? You're going to go to college. That's good.
Where? Reno.
University of Nevada at Reno. Congratulations. That's awesome. Did we have another senior?
She's not here.
Okay. All right. Very, very good. The last question I had to ask, so have you seen the movie League of Their Own? Okay, so you know how she caught the ball and she did the splits? Did you? That wasn't quite as dramatic. All right. Well, Anyway, we are just absolutely thrilled to have you. You've made us all proud. Thank you for taking your time to be with us here this evening. I do have like a little parting gift, a certificate of recognition for the Central Union High School 2014 girls softball team for winning the CIF San Diego Division IV championship title. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Congratulations. So proud of you. Congratulations. I hope so. How cool is that?
Good job, ladies.
Uh-oh, what happened here?
I broke my thumb.
Oh, no. Congratulations. Thank you for being here. Awesome. Hey, we're almost eye to eye, and I'm standing up here. I love that.
Great job.
So proud of you.
Sylvia, good job.
Exactly.
Wow. Awesome. You're leaving a legacy there.
I know. Okay. On that happy note, we're going to move on to our scheduled public comments. We have a presentation, Charlotte Teeters, the Imperial County Film Commission, regarding AB 1839 Filming Tax Incentive Bill. Thank you for being here.
Evening. That's such a nice thing to follow. That's exciting for those girls and for us. My name is Charlotte Teeters. I am the Executive Director of the Imperial County Film Commission, as well as the Executive Director of the United Desert Gateway. So I do wear a couple different hats. I just wanted to give you a quick report on, we're coming to the end of our year with the Film Commission, and then what we're doing moving forward, and briefly talk about AB 1839. So far this year, well, first of all, let me say thank you to the City Council for your time and for your support throughout the years. I really do appreciate that, and thank you to Member Cardenas and to Member Jackson for both in different ways being on the board and being great of assistance to me. So far this year, we have had 62 different projects film in Imperial County. I have at least 2 more by the end of the month, and that doesn't count the one that'll pop up tomorrow that says that it has to be filmed this weekend. It has been a very, very busy year. Our estimated economic impact so far is over $2 million, and I do expect when all is tallied on June 30th that we're going to be closer to 2.1. We are averaging 5.4 productions each month, and again, that is a very busy year. That we have in past years averaged 2 to 3, and we're averaging over 5 right now. So it's a good problem to have, but it has been a little crazy. You may be aware that there was a feature film filmed in Imperial County, American Sniper, and that was filmed here in El Centro at the old milk distribution factory over there on Broadway.
Commercial.
Is it on commercial? I think it's on Broadway.
Well,
That area.
It's between commercial and Broadway.
Yes, that area. And that was a great experience for, I think, everyone involved, and that includes the city. I did have a chance to meet with Marcella and make sure that things went smoothly for you all. She seemed to be under the impression that everything went well for your different agencies, including fire and police. And on my end, things went very smoothly, and they were very professional, and they were a great group to work with. I had the great opportunity of meeting Clint Eastwood, and that's like one of those bucket list items for me. American icon and cinematic legend. So that was very cool, and Bradley Cooper wasn't bad either. American Sniper represents in itself over $840,000 in economic impact. That group was here for over 2 weeks of prep. So they had a crew here of over 75 people that prepped the building, did the interior building that they needed to do, resurfaced the front of the building. As we all know, that sometimes becomes quite a graffiti source. So they repainted, restuccoed, redid everything they needed to do, reinforced the roof there, did their engineering studies, all of those different things. So they were here for 2 weeks. Then they had a week of shoot, and then we had a week of strike, which is the reclamating of the building, the cleaning out, making sure that everything is left better than they found it, and they did. It's a very clean building inside now. Usually it's a great place for pigeons to hang out, but it is beautiful right now. Over this past year, if any of you went to the fair, you'll notice that it was a movie theme. I was sucked into the vortex that is the fair, and it was a wonderful experience. I'm glad that I don't have to do it every year, but it was great to be involved with it at that level, and I hope that you all enjoyed it. I was also voted vice chairman of the Flix organization, which is Film Liaisons in California statewide. So I do operate on a board that represents all of the film commissions in California, and we work very close with the California Film Commission. I'm also the COLA co-chair. COLA is California On Location Awards. It is an award show that is on par with things like the Emmys, but it is for location managers. Location managers are the people that I deal with on a day-to-day basis. When they come here, they find the places that they're going to film. They're the people I talk to about why they should come film here, and they are my counterparts on a film production. I also had the wonderful chance to attend Sundance this year. I don't know, I think I may have told you that already, but that was just a fantastic experience. I am also on the Brawley Theater Restoration Committee, working on that, and that's one of those projects I really look forward to seeing come to fruition. We held multiple premiere parties. We had our 3rd annual film festival, and our 4th annual film festival is coming up August 8th and 9th, and I hope that you guys will be looking out for the press releases and things that are coming out on that. We have a lot of educational opportunities this year. We're going to be doing makeup, horror and beauty. We're going to be doing camera work. We're going to be doing all kinds of things. It's going to be a lot of fun. We are going to be on the SDSU campus this year instead of at the Cinemark. Rodney Auditorium, the Stepling Art Gallery is where we will hang our gallery, and we will be using the classrooms. Now, AB 1839, it is a bill that is working to increase the already existing tax credit for filming in California. As you're probably aware, runaway production is a huge issue here in California. One of our native industries is being taken from us by places like New Mexico, Louisiana, New York, and Michigan. Those are the top 4. AB 1839 has passed through the Assembly with no dissenting votes. We are now moving on to the Senate. Our first hearing is the 25th of this month. And we have been doing a letter writing campaign. And thank you very much, Mayor, for being able to write a letter on behalf of supporting AB 1839. Imperial County in our Arts Alliance actually was recognized as having the 2nd most letters written from our area in support, only second to San Francisco. So we did a really good job. Those letters are going to the 25th hearing. There will be additional hearings in August and September. There will be a vote in September in the Senate. I am hoping to travel, not to the 25th, unfortunately, because I have to go to Los Angeles on that date, but for the August hearing and in September in support. The story coming out of Imperial County is a impactful one regarding runaway production and the effects that it has had. And I'm happy to share that with our legislatures and represent Imperial County. So that's what's been going on in the Film Commission, and I'm happy to answer any questions you may have.
Ms. Sanders?
No questions, Madam Mayor, but just wish to say compliments to you for 62. That's a lot of work.
It's a lot
It's
of filming.
work. So thank you for your efforts.
Thank you.
You know, I just wanted to share, I really appreciate Charla and her efforts, not only in attracting new business, but her advocacy that she demonstrates in recruiting production companies. The folks that we deal with have nothing but praise to say about Charla, and I'm a testament, because I sit on the commission, that this is a very well-run organization. We meet quarterly, we review financials. There's a lot of structure and organization. I'm actually grateful that we're able to contribute towards the Imperial County Film Commission, but I do want to share that Charla's leadership in this area is vital to our economy. And the $800,000 plus from American Sniper, the economic impact from that is huge. And again, I kind of stole your thunder a little bit, but the production companies gave praise not only to Marcella, but to our police chief and our fire chief,
They sure
and
did.
the work that they did. And again, I can't tell you how much I appreciate you, Charlotte, and your efforts. And if there's anything we can do to help, please let us know. Now, with that being said, coming attractions, any big movies coming around the corner? Or?
At the moment, we actually have an independent that's filming around the county.
Okay.
They're not filming in the city of proper, but they will be staying in the city of El Centro.
Okay.
They will be here till July 3rd in various places around the county. We don't have any large films at this exact moment, but as you can tell, things have popped up this year.
Anything in feedback in regards to their stay at the Marriotts and the Holiday Express?
I did
Holiday Inn
follow up
Express?
with, I followed up with the producer, and I followed up with my location guys. And honestly, I'm like, look, you can be honest with me. You don't have to tell me all the, happy gooey stuff. And they're like, no, honestly, we had nothing to complain about. They had a great experience. People get a little crazy when celebrity comes out, and never am I as popular as when somebody popular is in town. And they did have to add a little security in the few places to make sure that, things were able to continue as they should, but they're used to that, and it was nothing out of the ordinary. They had great things to say about the city, about the community, and they really did have great praise for your different offices.
Thank you.
Thank you, Charlene, and I want to echo the sentiments and congratulating you on the magnificent job that you do for our county. And I think isn't that the second time that building is used as?
It is.
as
It's actually the third, it got used many years ago when I just started. But yeah, Act of Valor was shot there.
And it portrays Baghdad, right? I think it is. What are they?
Yeah,
what-
it was Mexico.
Oh, it's in
in
Mexico.
Act of
Oh, that's right.
Valor, and then here it was
Yeah.
Iraq.
So we have a little jewel in that deteriorated
We
building.
do. I have a very vested interest
So we don't
in
wanna-
that building.
Don't tear it
We don't
down.
want to redevelop that building.
I have a very vested interest in that building. Yeah.
So yes, congratulations.
Thank you.
And I will echo here, we really appreciate your leadership and your commitment to the cause, and we wish you every success with the AB 1839.
Thank you. It's
Southern
very important.
Yes, Southern California Association of Governments has that as one of its legislative priorities,
Yes.
and we have sent a letter
Yes.
in support as well. So you'll keep us posted on that.
I most certainly will.
And we, as we talk with our electeds in Sacramento, will make sure that we're all speaking with one voice in support.
And I will, as we have more dates for hearings, I will come back. You don't have to rewrite a letter, but we'd appreciate some reissuing.
Will do.
All right.
Thank you
Thank you
very
very
much.
much. Appreciate your time.
All right. Next, item number 2 on the agenda will be a presentation by Police Chief Madueño regarding the El Centro Police Department K-9 program.
Right.
Honorable Mayor, council members, good evening. Tonight we have a presentation for you announcing a K-9 unit that we hope to implement either at the end of this calendar year or early 2015, depending on the availability of training finding the right canine and acquiring all the necessary equipment. To the best of my knowledge, we've never had a canine unit in the city of El Centro. However, we use canine constantly in El Centro. One of the most recent examples was this morning at 9 o'clock, our SWAT team was activated to serve an arrest warrant on a felony suspect who was in one of our local motels. Our SWAT team responded, surrounded the motel room. California Highway Patrol assisted us with their canine. Their canine was barking loudly, ready to go into action. Our officers used the PA system on our SWAT vehicle to call the suspects out. Immediately, a female exited. She was taken into custody, and then the male subject, a subject known to be violent. I was present at the scene, and I heard when my officer asked the female why they came out so suddenly, and she said, "The dog. We didn't want you to send the dog in." She said that had we not had the dog, we would have to go in after them. After we secured the two subjects, the dog went in and finished clearing the room, thereby making it much safer for my officers. So we've done a lot of research, actually on behalf of Commander Robert Sawyer, who's here, and two of his officers. We're going to assist with the presentation. They have a few slides, and then we can answer any questions. I will tell you that the most expensive part of a canine unit would be the salary and benefits of the officer. But we plan on using an officer that's already in our patrol division, someone that's already part of our department. So there is no new position. The second largest single cost would be the acquisition of a police vehicle. And all indications are that we'll be receiving funding from the Department of Homeland Security to purchase vehicles. The lesser of the cost would be the necessary equipment, and I've already checked with the Department of Justice, and asset forfeiture is an allowable cost. So it seems that we have the cost covered. We've spoke with the city manager. Well, actually, council adopted a policy, a canine policy that's comprehensive. We have a separate SOP, standard operating procedures, for those that are selected. We have a selection process, not only for the officers, but for the canine. So I believe we've covered all the bases. However, the officers will give you the presentation, and we'll answer any questions you have. So with that, I believe Officer Thompson will begin.
Thank you. The Canine program will offer many benefits to both the El Centro Police Department as well as the city of El Centro. Some of the benefits to the city: the canine team will be used as a public relations tool. They're used at school events, public events such as a children's fair or parades. Some of the benefits to the police department: the canine teams are used for narcotics detection, officer protection, like Chief Medueno said, article recovery, things of that nature. Again, much like law enforcement has evolved over the years, so has the canine program. They're used as a marketing tool, almost. They're taken to schools, and other local groups are used in parades and events like that. And it kind of helps build a link between the city, the police department, the youth. You know, the kids love the dog. This is one of the tools used by some of the departments. It's almost like a trading card. They're produced. It has the canine team's information, and it's passed out at the school events and also the public events.
In regards to the evolution of the canine program in law enforcement, is being very similar to modern day law enforcement. One of the things that we've looked at is a very comprehensive training program for the canine. We wanted to cover not only the peace officer standard training requirements, the minimum requirements through California, but also the national requirements through several other different associations, such as the National Association of Police Working Dogs. What we've done is we've come up with a program that will cover all bases on all accreditation levels, whether it be local, state, and federal levels. The canine team, in order to become that comprehensive team, will go through an 8 to 9 week police academy. It's an intensive academy. They'll work to become a team. They'll work on disciplinary and obedience issues with the dog. And you'll see a video here in just a few minutes, and Officer Gustafson will walk you through what you're seeing in the video. In addition to that, we were concerned about liability. So we wanted to ensure that we've covered our bases with the minimum amount of training, which is 16 hours a month. That will be the minimum that's required to maintain certification throughout the state. We plan on attending 32 hours of training, doubling that to ensure that we have the best team on the streets to ensure the safety of our citizens and the safety of our officers, and make sure that it's a productive member of or a productive unit within the city of El Centro and within the Department of Police. So for liability, what we did is we looked at what exposures we would have. And under the civil code, basically the law states that as long as the canine is working within the parameters of its training under the direction of a trained canine handler, there's no liability for the canine being deployed to apprehend an individual, a suspect, or protecting the handler in the performance of their duties. So we've really covered everything. In addition to that, we've sent 4 of our supervisors, myself, Commander Ramirez, and 2 of our sergeants, to canine supervisors courses. And I've attended some additional training as well to kind of oversee the program. We've talked with the vendors and experts and larger organizations up and down the state. We've literally spent about the last year working on the program to make sure that we've really dotted our I's and crossed our T's on everything. And Officer Gustafson's going to stand up and he's going to kind of walk you through a training video that you'll see, and he'll explain the different aspects of the training.
This video right here, as the commander stated, there's extensive training, there's several certifications that the canine must obtain to remain in service. This is a portion of the patrol dog annual certification. As you can see, our suspect's going to be the individual in the white shirt. He actually has a bite sleeve on his right arm. What this video kind of portrays is that the canine does not make any decisions on his own. It does not pay any attention to the suspect until the handler tells it to do so. So as you can see, the handler went over, introduced the suspect to the canine. He's now going over, even presenting his arm as if the canine were to bite it. Again, the canine still shows no interest in the suspect, but only in the handler. The first time the canine handler is going to deploy the canine, it's obviously they have a scenario where, they're justified in sending the canine. However, once they send the canine, the officer is actually going to call the canine back. And again, if that's the suspect decides, all right, I want to comply, I do not want to get bit by the dog, the handler actually has the ability to, once it's already given the command to apprehend the suspect, to actually call it back and stop the canine from apprehending. Again, the second time he's going to deploy it, just to show the discipline of the canine and how it responds only to the commands of the handler. He deploys the canine successfully bites and apprehends the suspect right here. This is a trained agitator, and he's actually agitating the dog, ripping his arm around, swinging the dog around. He's yelling at it much like a suspect would do in real life. And even with all this going on, you're going to see the handler is actually going to give a verbal command, and the dog will completely release and run right back to the handler. The canines do not do anything on their own. It's all based on what the handler instructs them to do. And this is what is taught to them during the training that the commander discussed. Now the canine handler is actually over there conducting a cursory pat search. He's touching the suspect just to show that, again, the canine has no direct aggression towards anyone other than what the canine handler actually orders him to, apprehend the suspect. And again, this is just a portion of one of the several certification courses that must be obtained on an annual basis in order to keep a dog in service. That completes the presentations. Do we have any questions?
No, that was a very cool video. I'd never seen that. I didn't realize that they had that kind of command over the canine. That's very impressive and gratifying to know that the potential for something going array is minimal, if zero, based on what I saw. So that's great. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Again, I do want to thank your leadership on this, Chief, and you guys have done a lot of research on this. I'm just elated to see this actually be a part of our police force, and looking forward to it. I think there's only one other city in our county that has a canine unit, right? It's only the city of Imperial. There's no other city that has a canine unit?
No, as I said, we use canine constantly, and
Right.
we've been assisted by the Imperial Police Department, but also United States Border Patrol and California Highway Patrol have canines. However, what we're running into more and more is they're busy in their own jurisdiction, so either it's a delayed response or we're sorry, we can't respond at this point. With their assistance, these different agencies, we've made numerous seizures of narcotics taken off our streets. And again, Mayor, I don't know if you recall, 700 block of Sandalwood, a semi-truck had caused a lot of havoc. CHP came out and helped us clear that truck with their dogs. So we've used also, we were looking for a homicide suspect who was hidden in a crawl space. The subject came out not after we fired in pepper ball gas. He took that. When the dog barked, he said, okay, I'm coming out. So again, the dogs are ready to go into action, but normally the studies show that the barking is enough to say, okay.
Yeah.
They don't want to get.
And Chief, where do we anticipate keeping the canine unit?
The canines are housed with the handler.
Okay.
They live with the handler. There's criteria that the handlers have to conform to be part of the unit.
Wow. All right. Excellent work.
Ms. Sanders.
Yes. Thank you so much for the presentation. I'm glad that Mr. Cardenas asked about housing of the animal, but he will be living with the particular officer that's the handler?
That is correct.
And then you said that this sometimes can be utilized as, I'm going to call it community policing, where you go out and have a public presentation to schools, et cetera?
Correct. Both California Highway Patrol, actually Imperial PD and U.S. Border Patrol use theirs at community events quite often.
Well, the most gratifying is that I've always been led to believe that a dog can be a man's best friend. So I applaud that as long as it stays within that confines, that it's going to be man's best friend. Thank you.
Thank you.
As a lot of you know, my dad was a police officer in Seattle, and I've had some very fond father-daughter bonding moments, and a lot of them have to do with either being out on the range or with the police dogs, and how incredibly intelligent they are, and the stories that he would come home with from time to time about the dogs. And one of them, to kind of piggyback on the issue with regard to the family, does the family go through some kind of training? Because I've heard of instances where that the canine is so protective of its handler that sometimes there can be issues if the family, wants to come in and wake the handler up because, hey, it's time to go mow the lawn or something, and the dog's not having any of that. So if you could talk about the training or how the family is prepared, and then also the other question I had, given our weather, will that dictate the type of animal that we have here?
In regards to the family being acquainted with the canine, there are several procedures in place in our SOP that states the dog is to be basically under lock and key in its kennel, unless in the presence of the handler.
Okay.
There are times when, yes, the handler will take it out, it will be acquainted with the family, but at no time will the family, whether it be the wife, the child, anyone living at the location, will be able to handle the dog or necessarily, interact with the dog without the handler present.
Perfect.
So
Okay.
majority of the time, yes, it does stay in the kennel under lock and key. But, the handler is able to take it out for breaks and ultimately will socialize it, limited with the family.
Okay.
In regards to the type of canine, that's something that we took into consideration. We spoke with, several different agencies. We've spoken with several different veterinarians. And yes, based on the heat, we've actually chosen to go with the Belgian Malinois. One, it's a little bit smaller in size. And two, it's got a little bit lighter coat. You can
Right.
get a Dutch Shepherd, which has typically a darker black coat, which heats up a little bit more. The most common and what people know them as is the German Shepherd. The German
Right.
Shepherds, though, we're seeing a little bit more of the hip problems, hip dysplasia and that. So after speaking with several veterinarians, handlers, trainers, both state and ultimately nationwide, we've decided to go with a Belgian Malinois. They're a little smaller in stature, and they have a little lighter coat, which will help them, accommodate to the heat.
Fantastic. Well, I think we're all very excited about this addition, particularly as it relates to officer safety. And so we're looking forward to meeting our newest officer.
Yeah.
Will there be, how do you name the dog? Were you going to ask that? We're going to have a...
That's a great question.
I mean...
Typically, the vendors that you get them from, the dog is actually they'll come.
Pre-named.
Pre-named.
All right, all right.
Because again, they start training the dogs from when they're a tiny puppy, and by the time that we actually get them, they're 1 to 2 years of age.
Okay, well, we're all looking forward and want to see a demonstration as soon as you're up and ready, okay? Thank you very much.
Great job,
and-
Chief.
And yes, thank you for that. Item number 4 is Mr. Chang here? He did have a separate presentation in Brawley. Oh, nice to see you.
Good evening. My name is Augie Chang. I'm here representing the American Public Works Association, the San Diego and Imperial Counties chapter. And I'm happy to say that I'm actually here to present an award to your brand new transit bus terminal just completed earlier this year. First, a little bit about APWA. There's 30,000 members across the nations with a lot of international ties with many other countries, with 60 chapters. The San Diego chapter alone, San Diego and Imperial County chapters alone, has 400 members. And we promote excellence in promoting planning and maintaining and building our public infrastructures. This year's annual chapter award was held on May 22nd in San Diego, and I'm proud to say that there were 370 people in attendance, quite a nice crowd, where 37 projects received the award from 22 different agencies throughout the county. So before I actually present the award, I have a little confession to make. I was also involved with the design of the project.
That's right.
So it was a special honor to me, and I want to thank members of the council. I remember sitting down with Council Member Sanders, who said to us, "You better make it look good and functional and safe." So we took your words to heed. So with that, it's my pleasure to present the Project of the Year Award for the transportation category of projects between $2 and $5 million to the El Centro Regional Bus Terminal. And this project also received a SCAG Award, which was presented in Palm Springs for beautification and sustainability. So, and we're not done with the award just because next year it qualifies for a statewide award at the California Transportation Foundation. Great. So on the behalf of the APWA San Diego and Imperial Counties chapter, I'd like to extend my congratulations to the city of El Centro, the staff, consultants, and contractors who are involved in this project. And let me say, having been on the design side, I really appreciate your involvement. I appreciate the dedication of your staff, Terry Hagan and Abe Campos, specifically, who put their heart and soul into it. So with that, I present this award and congratulations.
Why, I very, very much believe in giving credit where credit is due, and so I would like staff to come forward who are involved with this, with the transfer terminal. Mr. Hagan, Ms. Villacana, Ms. Piedra. Come on, folks. All of you that had a part of this, please, don't be shy. Congratulations. We have these public comment cards if there's someone that wanted to either participate in the discussion on an item that's on our agenda or that's not on the agenda. Typically, we hold comments for items that are not on the agenda for later, but right now I only have one. So I'm going to do a little break in protocol here and ask Mr. William Thong. Would you like to address the council at this time with regard to your Sewer bill? Okay. If you could please come to the microphone here and state your name and just let us know what the issue is, please.
Hello, ladies, gentlemen. My name is William Tong. I'm the business owner at Willie's Donuts. And today I have some issue, and I'm really sorry for my English, so I would like to authorize my friend David so he can speak up for me. Thank you.
Hi, members. I've been involved with the business community for almost 10 years. I'm a small business owner, just like anybody else here in the Valley. In the past few years, I've been speaking to a lot of business clients. You know, it's pretty difficult here to be a small business client here in the Valley, especially with this tough economic times, and it's pretty harsh. And I speak to a lot of clients, and they always get these negative feedbacks. And I try to do a positive spin with them and try to give them hope. Hope, that's what everybody needs nowadays. You know, because, you know, the economy is pretty bad right now, and giving them hope and giving a positive spin on each client and tell them, hey, you know, this could be a good outlook. You know, and after a while, then I speak to Williams, and he came up with this water bill. And that's really unfortunate because, you know, it brings a lot of emotional stress, which is, you know, for a small business owner. You know, as Ina can tell, I'm losing a lot of hair because I'm also, you know, just pretty stressed out. But overall, I'm trying to say is that, speaking on behalf of William, as a small business owner, it's very unfortunate how he got his water bill. I don't know if you can, you guys have you seen his water bill? And it's very unfortunate how the water bill has been, previous bill for the past 3 years that he's been billed. And as I look at it, it comes out to $12,892. I mean, that's a lot of money. It's been retro back for the past, I don't know, I believe it's 3 years. And it's because of some code that Mr. Williams didn't even know about, you know. I go, do you know what the code is? I go, I have no idea what the code is either. And so based on that water bill, if I worked for the water department, I could understand which code it could have been rectified. But it took them 5 years to rectify this bill. So I don't know why this bill landed on my friend William here with this water bill for this amount of $12,892. And it's pretty difficult as a small businessman. You know, we're trying to make things work for the small business community. And, you know, trying to make things work for everybody else. And getting this slapped with this bill is pretty difficult because it makes things a lot worse. Because you got to worry about other things, your employees, your insurance, making things go and flow, your workflow in your business. Then this water bill comes up, it's like it's putting more stress on you. And speaking of this bill, I was wondering if you guys can be able to rectify this bill, because I feel, and Mr. William feel, that he is not responsible for this bill.
Okay. This is a public comment portion so that you get to bring items to our attention. I will let you know that the council has been briefed on the issue. I mean, we saw it in the newspaper, we're aware. I'd ask that you please be referred to our city manager for additional discussion after the meeting with regard to that specific bill.
Okay. Actually, if I could ask, sir, if you would contact us tomorrow, we'd like to talk to you. I know you're represented by an attorney, whether that be sufficient. And
Okay.
We've met before on others. But just tomorrow, so we can this discussion.
Okay, so as preview of coming attractions, so that meeting will take place, or at least that contact will occur tomorrow.
All right, thank you.
Thank you very much for being here. We're going to move on to the consent agenda. We do have a public comment request for item number 11. Did you want to make a comment, or you're just supporting it?
Oh, well, I just wanted to reiterate our gratitude for your support.
Okay.
So I don't know if that,
Well, we have your comment here that says that, hey, you're pretty darn happy that we're moving forward. So we'll, then I will leave it with, as part of the consent agenda. Then I'm looking for approval of items 5 through 17.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion by Cardenas, second by Sanders. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carried 4-0 with 1 absent. Thank you. We're going to move on now to agenda item number 18. This is a public hearing for the purpose of rescinding Resolution Number 13-48 in its entirety and reestablishing rates for the collection, transportation, recycling, processing, and disposal of solid waste and street sweeping services in the city of El Centro. I will note that we have a public comment in opposition to this recommendation filed by Allied Waste of Imperial, and we will have those comments immediately following staff's presentation.
Thank you, Honorable Mayor and council members. I'll review the contract. It includes a residential 3-cart system for trash, recyclables, and green waste at all the residences. We have quarterly drop-off events for residents. We have the 3 bulky item collection per resident. They simply call up, put it out curbside, it'll be picked up. We have curbside used oil collection, and that includes containers to drain the oil into, and they pick those up as well, put out a new one. Discarded item collection in downtown alleys, street sweeping services, disposal of waste at the facility. If you're at home during the day and you want to go down there and drop something off in your pickup, you can do that, which is a very handy process to have them in the city where they can, and their doors open during business hours. Have the annual compost giveaway event to educate the benefits of green waste recycling, collection of city facilities free of charge, and collection of waste and recyclables from city-sponsored events. Now the rates, the initial contract was approved on March 20th, 2007, and the initial rate, residential rates here are shown. Initially it was $15.99. The following year it went up to $16.87, and then $17.61, and then $18.31, and then there was a rate reduction down to $18.15 in 2012. And then the last rate increase was to $18.46. And then on March 11th, 2014, we received the request for rate adjustment, the 6th one. And after receiving this request, we forwarded it to HF&H, our consultant, which was also the consultant that assisted us in selecting CR&R. And they verified the calculations and concur with the adjustment request. CR&R indemnifies the city should there be any dispute over the fees by property owners. The rate adjustment analysis consists of these 5 indices: fuel, equipment, labor, disposal, and insurance. The request by CR&R for the cart and bin service, the residential service, was a 1.5% increase. HF&H agreed with that. The roll-off box, which is a 3-yard box, is 1.4% increase. And then there's also other sizes of roll-offs as well. And then the disposal portion of the roll-off, that's the landfill portion, is 1.7%. And HF&H reviewed those indices and came up with the same numbers. These next 3 slides are the same ones that are attached to your staff report with the before and after fees. And when we compare the rates for El Centro, which is the top here, for residential, and then we do a comparison with a 3-yard commercial bin dumped once a week and then twice a week. And we have Hopeville, Calipatria, Heber, Westmoreland, and the county. And we look at the averages, and for the residential, we're below average on residential. For the 3-yard bin dumped once a week, we're a little higher than the average, but for the twice a week disposal, we're below average. The average is 184 versus 180. Now, when we compare these rates with other agencies, you got to be comparing apples to apples. So there's a lot of other factors that come into the contract. We have free street sweeping, so there's no additional charge for that. It was an extension to the existing contract to get the free street sweeping. We have a requirement to have a business maintained within the city limits, which CRNR does that. The current contract length now ends in July 1st, 2027. There's no evergreen clause. The city has the sole option to extend at 5-year intervals after that date, at that date. Limiting, also there's a limit on the maximum rate change that can occur, and this can be either increases or decreases. The maximum was 4%. And we also name and restrict landfills that the trash hauler may use, and that's restricted to 4 right now: the Allied, Imperial Landfill, Mesquite, Salton Sea, and South Yuma County landfills. And we have a city franchise fee of 10% of the gross receipts. And the billing, city does the residential, CRNR does the commercial, and we take a 10% gross of that. So when you look at comparing rates, you have to look at these factors. Any questions? And we do have Dean Ruffridge and Dan Druitt from CRNR tonight if you have any questions of them.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Reagan. We'll start with Mr. Silva. Questions?
Not right now, but I think I will later.
Okay. Anything that?
Yes. I've done some research on this, and I'm going to disclose that I do have some heartburn over the rate increase, and I want to speak specifically to the transfer station. Was there any commitment in terms of building or increasing the transfer station here locally on the part of CRNR?
Well, by requiring them to have the business in the city, there is that requirement, and they do have a transfer station, and I know they went through a permitting process, increased its size, the permit size. I think it's up to 100 tons. We can check with Dean on that.
And how many tons of trash are we currently producing right now, the city of El Centro?
Dean could probably answer that number better than I could. So there'd be both residential and commercial involved in that number.
Okay. Do you believe currently that the transfer station that they have now is adequate enough to meet our disposal needs?
I believe it is, and I believe they're servicing some other cities as well.
So 100%, and currently this trash that they're collecting, where is that going now?
To the various landfills, depending on the nature of the trash.
Go
And again-
back to that
and I
slide,
think-
if you would. It might help, Mr. Cardenas, if you go back to that slide.
You've got the Allied, Mesquite, Salton Sea, and South Yuma. And I believe the majority goes to South Yuma.
Okay.
But again, we should have Dean Ruffridge from CRNR come up and answer some of these questions.
All right. And I'll ask him, but I do wanted to say that I believe that one of the purposes, and as I was going through the film, one of the purposes for the contract extension to 2027 was to allow them to make a $3 million investment into building and upgrading their current transfer station. Does that sound accurate?
I believe they could answer that better. I know they've purchased property, or at least put additional property into a purchase agreement. They're deciding which site to go to still, though.
Okay. Well, then I'll just defer to
expand
to CRNR.
Thank you.
Ms. Sanders, did you have questions?
Well, no questions at this time, Madam Mayor.
I
I was going to try to make some points of clarification. It's my understanding, part of the extension of the contract was several options, or several ideas was put into it. One was the street sweeping. The second was they would also include streets that yet to be named, and at that point, we were expanding in our growth pattern, so it was also going to include that. And then the pickups. The pickup would curbside pickups for large bulky items.
That is correct. We have the curbside pickup, and also any additional streets or expansion of the city limits, that's included in the contract to do the street sweeping, as well as the trash pickup.
Right.
Additional questions while Mr. Hagan is here? I have one question, Mr. Hagan. Can you go back to the comparison, the city comparison?
Yeah.
So I guess what I'm wondering is why are the other cities, so Braly's not there, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Braly's not there, Calexico's not there.
We did not attain those numbers. I know staff was calling and trying to update this as of today even. We were getting different numbers. When different staff would call, we were rechecking the numbers today. So we can make sure to include those
Okay,
cities
can we-
next year.
Well,
I'm
could-
sorry.
Or follow up.
I'm sorry.
I'm wondering, can we, I don't know if Mr. Durand or someone can maybe give us a little more, I think for a complete picture so that we can come back and tell our residents that we have your best interests and where we fall with everyone else. Because, I mean, looking here, it's all about the numbers. This is a great story that we can tell, that for residential, we're below the average. You know, all the way along the line, we're below the average. However, if Brawley and Calexico come into the mix, and they're significantly below, it's going to skew that average number, and so maybe our story is no longer accurate.
I could find out those numbers, redo this sheet, and then email it to you.
Can you redistribute?
Yes,
I think that would,
absolutely.
I would appreciate that.
Will do.
Okay, and then I think at this point, if we could have the CR&R representatives come up for Mr. Cardenas's questions, and that will be followed by the Allied Waste of Imperial.
Madam Mayor, do you want to open the public hearing at this time?
Yes, and we will consider the public hearing open, so if there are additional members of the public that would like to participate in this item, please complete a blue slip that the city clerk has available.
Madam Mayor, good evening. Dean Ruffridge with CR&R, and with me is Dan Drurick, your local manager. It's a pleasure to be here again tonight. I do have 4 questions from Mr. Cardenas. If you would like me to start with those, Madam Mayor,
Sure.
I certainly will.
Oh, sorry.
Oh,
The
we're
first
good.
The first question, sir, if I recall, if I heard it correctly, is a transfer station a commitment of a transfer station in our contract? We're committed to have our facility in the city. We were not committed to have a transfer station in the facility. But as you read the staff report, you noticed that back in 2009, I believe it was, the landfill costs were escalating at a tremendous rate. In fact, over a 6-year period, the landfill costs had almost doubled. And that was one of the major reasons for the increases in these prices, as you noticed on the board earlier. To try to control these costs, CR&R 3 years ago invested and purchased the South Yuma County landfill, which has a cost component considerably less than the local landfill in Imperial owned by Allied. With the transfer component, the rate difference is almost $14 a ton. Your local gate rate is $64, which is one of the highest we pay in the state of California. And our component in South Yuma County landfill is $27.50, with transfers under $50. In our contract, we guarantee disposal, and that's one of the reasons why we have 4 options. We currently collect, answer your second question, sir.
Well, you know, I'm sorry, sir, I don't mean to interrupt, but in terms of gate rate, why are you paying a gate rate?
Why are we? Because that's the cost where we take trash into the landfill.
Have you tried to negotiate that rate?
We did back in 2000, I'm going to say 10 and 11. Our contract with Allied had expired, yes.
Okay.
We tried to negotiate an extension of that contract, and I don't know, I think that's 2 or 3 managers ago, because Allied has had a continual turnover of managers, as I believe you know. We were unable to negotiate a contract extension or redoing the contract rates, and that's the reason why we went ahead and purchased the South Yuma County landfill.
Okay. In terms of the transfer station, did you make a promise that you would invest into a transfer station, and that was one of the reasons why you needed this contract extended.
No, sir.
You did not say that you were going to make a $3 million investment into your transfer station to accommodate that. Is that what you said, or did not say?
I don't have the exact language, and if you have it in front of me.
Oh, I
please
have
read
it,
to
yeah.
me.
Well, I don't have it in front of me, but it's on the
We
video.
did state that we would make a $3 million investment in the city of El Centro. That is.
You did say that? And when did you say that?
I believe in 2011.
Okay, have you made a $3 million investment?
Close to it, yes.
In what areas?
We purchased 12 acres of property off of Dogwood.
The one that has a for sale sign on it?
I went by it today, and no, I don't think it does.
Okay.
There was I'm Dan Drew, the general manager. I also live in 1451 Meadowview, El Centro. Wife's the teacher, kids go to school here. We bought a property on Dogwood, and we're negotiating on 2 other properties, actually while Dean's in town. So our commitment to the community is definitely firm fixed.
And that's 3 years into the contract, correct?
The Dogwood property was bought a year and a half ago. And there was another property we're negotiating on that's been in negotiation for over 2 years.
Okay.
And then a second piece we're looking at tomorrow morning. But I think the important thing back in 2011, as well as when this contract went out for bid, and I want to point something out. There's been 3 cities since I've been coming to El Centro and since 1998 that have gone out to bid, and CRNR has been successful in all 3 of those cities.
Were you successful in Brawley?
It did not go out to bid, sir. It was a renegotiated contract.
So you don't have their contract,
That's
correct?
correct.
Good.
But if I could answer your second question, sir. You asked about how much tonnage is generated on a daily basis in El Centro. That is approximately 130 tons a day, of which we take about 100 of that tonnage to Yuma, and the balance, the 30 or so tons, goes to the local landfill in Imperial, of which CRNR pays that higher rate and does not get reimbursed from any ratepayer.
So why wouldn't you choose to invest into, because I'm looking at your permit now, and it does show 99 tons a day.
Right.
It shows an incoming waste material of 20 vehicles. So the most that those vehicles, with your current operating permit you have today, the most vehicles that can come into that transfer station is 20 vehicles. Is that correct?
I don't know. Dan, do you have the answer to that?
The passenger equivalent count is not based on tonnage. So the numbers you're looking at is probably from the CUP, I believe.
No, it's a permit signed by Mr. Lamore,
Okay.
Deputy Director.
It shows an equivalent of what an average collection vehicle could weigh, and it equals 99 tons. So that's a mathematical format. We might have a truck that comes in at 5 tons, and another one that comes in at 5 tons, and one that comes in at 11 tons. So it's just a general format.
Okay. So, I'm sorry, so the 99 tons goes through the local transfer station. The other 30 tons goes to Allied Waste, which are paying gate rate. But when was the last time you discussed any type of disposal agreement, anything with them to try to reduce the tipping fees to our citizens?
In 2012, I met with Randy Bringle from the landfill, and he shot us down. And at that time, I brought the point that the gate rate may look like 60, but it's really $80 a ton sometimes. There's an environmental fee and a handling fee they add on to each truck. So if we bring a roll-off truck from El Centro and it only has 1 ton, we sometimes incur another $25 a ton on top of their $63.
So if our tonnage rate is so low, why are we increasing our tipping fees? When you take it to Yuma?
The tipping fee simply goes up by CPI, cost of living, which I believe is 1.7%, and that'll cover our cost of labor and our cost of fuel.
Because in the agreement that also says, I guess what I'm trying to get an understanding, a better understanding is, that rate can go up and down. It appears that it's always gone
It can
up.
only go up or down by CPI. That was the change we made last year in 2011.
It has gone down.
Yes.
If you guys chose to negotiate a disposal agreement, a long-term disposal agreement with landfill, could our rates go down?
No. The current agreement, if I recall, I don't have it in front of me, I'm sorry, sir, but if I believe the current agreement, when it was amended in 2011, the landfill could only be adjusted by CPI.
Okay, well, so you're saying that that's what your understanding of it is that correct?
Right now, without having it in front of me, but I do recall HF&H, the consultant, negotiating with me and Dan tremendously on that issue. They wanted to stabilize rates in this city. They had seen what had gone on at the Allied landfill, where rates were totally escalating out of sight, and they wanted to stabilize it by CPI only. And that was quite a negotiating point 2 years ago.
Well, what I'm just seeing is, I'm seeing an agreement that extends to 2027. And I guess what I'm trying to get an understanding is, in terms of our citizens, is what type of, are we looking at making an investment into a transfer station to increase the tonnage that you're taking over to Yuma? And what type of commitment are we looking at in terms of 20,000 or 2027? Again, in the video that I looked at, and it was very clear. It said that CR&R would invest $3 million into building a transfer station that can handle the tonnage, and that's why you needed that contract extension. Today, we still don't have that. Is that correct?
Well, you're pretty close.
We're moving towards that.
I think if you talk to your staff, we've committed a considerable amount of money in starting and going through with a conditional use permit, an environmental impact report, on increasing the tonnage at our Main Street property. That environmental impact report got off the ground. We probably spent, we spent six figures on that, hiring consultants, working with your staff, paying the necessary fees. Probably spent over a year on that environmental impact report before we pulled it and realized this property on Main Street is not capable of doing 130 to 200 tons a day. As such, we've been looking for other properties. We invested, we bought 12 acres off of Dogwood. We've met with your staff, with Mr. Duran. We've met with your public works staff, your planning staff, zoning staff. We've been going over that 12 acres for over probably 2 years. I was unaware of a for sale sign on it, and I don't know, maybe you know the property better, but I was there today and I saw no for sale sign on it.
Was there a for sale sign on there?
There's other properties that are on that general field that are still for sale.
We have just today, I've been in meetings today, and we have an interested party that would like to trade that, we'd like to have that piece of property from us. I'm meeting with them tomorrow. This party has other properties that are very suitable and in permitted areas where we would not have to go through a conditional use permit. I'm very excited about tomorrow morning, and I certainly hope you are too, sir.
In terms of Hemet, have you made any significant investments in the city of Hemet?
Have I made any significant?
Yeah.
I can't answer that. That is not one of the cities that I work in.
And in terms of Newport, is there any significant investment? Because I'm showing that your company made a $15 million investment in terms of property acquisition and just local investment.
I will tell you that we have not purchased any property in the city of Hemet because it would have gone through my desk. And I will tell you that we have not purchased any property in the city of Newport Beach. And a new contract we just started a month ago is the city of Lake Forest. We have not purchased any property in the city of Lake Forest.
Okay. Just a couple more questions. I appreciate your patience, and I appreciate you answering all the questions. I guess, what can we do to help reduce some of the rates to our citizens?
Well, first of all, I needed to answer one of your last questions, and I'm sorry I haven't. Whatever CR&R invests in the city of El Centro, or for that matter, in the county of Imperial, it does not impact the rate. You are guaranteed in the 2011 agreement that if we invest $1 million, $3 million, or $30 million, your rates are not impacted. It was a I'm telling you, this negotiation that your staff did in 2011 was a remarkable deal for not only the city of El Centro, but especially for your ratepayers.
And this
because
is
they are guaranteed that CPI Cost of living, fuel, labor, and cost of living are the only factors, as you saw on the slide recently, that impact your rates.
So, and this is the same contract that had a proposed 8% increase and also an evergreen clause in it initially when it was proposed. Is that correct?
In what year?
In 2011.
That is, I don't know. I don't remember that far back, I'm sorry. 3 years ago.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
You're welcome. Any other questions?
I'm not sure, Dean, if it's a question or maybe just a statement, but I've also have indicated, the difficulty that I had as a council member when we approved the 20-year extension or whatever length it is. I thought it was a mistake. I voted against it. But those are the circumstances in which we have to live with now. In previous requests for increases, I have indicated my heartburn in seeing a small community like Holtville get a significant lower rate than El Centro. And I've asked before, and I won't ask the question again, but that troubles me that a city that in El Centro, in which you would have the economies of scale, that on the surface should give us a lower rate than a city nearby. That also gives me heartburn. But
I'll be happy to answer that again, sir.
No, that's okay. Those are the realities of things that we have to abide with. On the other hand, I have to tell you that I was very impressed with the quality and customer service that was expressed by your manager, by Dan, in terms of helping our community, and I saw a willingness to do whatever was necessary to come to the aid of our citizens, and that impressed me. That impressed me that I did see a commitment to our community, a commitment to do whatever is necessary to get it done. So I think my feelings have softened because I see that there's an investment, at least in willingness to help, and so I've kind of changed my position. It still gives me heartburn to see $15.76 as opposed to $18.74. The 2027 gives me heartburn as well, but those are decisions that the council made, and I have to live with them.
Well, if I could respond, Mr. Silva, thank you very much. I appreciate it. And I know Dan does a lot of hard work here in the community, and we try to give back as much as we can as a corporate citizen here in El Centro. The original contract, if you look really closely on the staff report, started in 2007 and was expected to go until 2015. What we don't talk about a lot is that original contract had a 2-year option, so it could have gone really easily till 2017. So when we looked at adding some services, the city wanted some additional services. We felt we were here to help the city back in 2011. The city had quality service. The city noticed that 3 cities had gone out to bid in the county in previous times. We had won all 3 of them. We had come in lower than our one competitor, which was Allied. In 2011, there was a 10-year extension granted until 2027 due to additional services. One of them, with big service, was street sweeping services. That was a $500,000 a year deal that was costing the city $500,000 a year. Over 10
I
years.
actually heard it was about $250,000.
That amounted to about $5 million. The city recognized the quality of service. They also wanted rate stability, and that's one of the reasons why you added the 4% maximum that the rate could ever go up in an annual year, and no carryover. I mean, let's say it went up 8% one year. I couldn't come back the next year and recover that 4%.
I want to ask my city manager, is it your understanding there was $500,000 in savings in street sweeping, Mr. Duran?
Our direct cost, I'm looking back at Mr. Hagan, was it $250,000 or $500,000? Then I misspoke.
Yeah.
So I was told today it was.
Then I misspoke today. When you asked me informally after the closed session, I gave you the number that I recalled 4 years ago. So I'm looking to Mr. Hagan, who has personal knowledge. Mr. Hagan, would you come to the microphone, please? It was $500,000?
It's 500.
Thank you.
City also received rate stability, as I just said, and also another large item that was picked up, I believe, was the bulky items, not only at the residential, but through all of the alleys. And I was driving through some of your alleys this afternoon. In fact, Terry, we need to do some pothole repairs on a couple of those. But anyway, Dan goes through every week with stake beds, picks up the alleys, all of the debris and the bulkies that used to be there. I don't know if you remember back 3 or 4 years ago. I mean, it was one of the things that we had recognized where we could help the community and beautify a little bit. Now, if we can just stop some of those taggers in some of our bins, I think we'll do a little bit better. So there was a number of concessions given, sir, Mr. Cardenas, back in 2011, and street sweeping was a very large item that saved the city a ton of money, I believe. As far as Holtville, I do need to speak about this one more time. Holtville went out to bid, and when the little city of Holtville went out to bid, it was 8 miles down the road from us, and it was competitively bid by 2 pretty fierce competitors. Allied had been in there for a number of years, and the city had not gone out to bid for a number of years, and their rates were exorbitant. They were in the low $20 range. The city staff, the then city manager, had tried to meet with Allied to negotiate a new contract and a new rate because their rates were out of line. She was unsuccessful. They had no choice but to go out to bid. They went out to bid. We wanted it because of the additional tonnage. That was our main reason why we went in there with a vengeance to get it. We needed the tonnage to support a larger transfer station. Transfer stations in California, we have about 6 or 7, I'd say, and most of them are in the 1,000 to 1,500 tons per day, and ours here in El Centro is 99 tons. And with getting Holtville, Calipatria, Westmoreland, Heber, and El Centro, we come up to about 130 tons a day. A little more supportive on a facility than just at 99 tons. So right now, with all of these different cities that could go through the transfer station, but they don't, we're doing slightly over 200 tons a day. So it makes sense for us to site a larger landfill or at least put another one in town. Mr. Silva, thank you very much.
Okay. In a separate report, not because it's not germane to the discussion tonight, but in a separate report, I would like an update with regard to contamination rates as well as recycling that's coming out. I know that from time to time, actually I guess weekly, I see someone coming by and pretty much removing anything of value from the recycling cans up and down the streets. So I'd like an update from staff or someone with regard to contamination rates and recycling. We had also talked at one time that if those contamination rates did not start coming down, we were going to be tagging cans with regard to the green waste, so if that could be included in a future report. I'd also like to get back to Mr. Cardenas's point, in 6 months, if we could have an update on the status of the property, either the acquisition or the development. I think that would be appropriate. So if we could, City Clerk, please calendar that for 6-month review. Oftentimes when we contract out services, I equate the success of that service with the number of calls, complaints I receive. And I receive very, very few complaints. Pretty much the only complaint that I receive any longer is folks that are going through the recycling bin that maybe don't put everything back in the can and there's paper that's blown or something like that. So I think that by and large CR&R is doing a good job for our community. I think we have seen improvement with regard to the optional services that are part of the contract or the add-ons that are of benefit. I think we've done a much better job in outreach in terms of notifying our community with regard to the availability of the bulk pickup. I think that's been very good. We don't see the mattresses in the back alleys any longer. Huge improvement. I think the fact that we have transitioned this entire community from a 1-can, couple times a week service to a 3-can system once a week is remarkable over the space of time that the contract has been in place. I appreciate the fact that we look at rates on an annual basis as opposed to waiting a number of years and then going back out to the residents and saying, oh, by the way, instead of that incremental small increase every year, you're now going to be paying $9, $10, $12 more a month. So I appreciate city staff bringing this to us on an annual basis. One area where I do believe that we can see some improvement from CR&R, and I would like to put this in front of you to see if there's something that you can do. Street sweeping. If we can figure out how we can alert people that street sweepers are going to be on your block between these hours, get your cars out from in front of your home. This had been a pet peeve of mine for some time, where we actually had the street sweeping and the trash service on the same day for a while. It only happened a couple of times, but you could see where all the trash cans were lined up, the street sweeper would come, and they'd go around your trash can. So a little bit fine tuning there, I think, would be great. So that's, those were my comments. Yes?
The street sweeping on trash day, it happens when the driver calls the street sweeper and says, bunch of litter, I spilled
Come
something.
pick it up.
come help
Okay.
me." So that-
Perfect.
It shouldn't happen, it should have never happened unless a circumstance called for it.
Okay. So whatever we can do to get the notification out then,
I will
we'll work on that. Mr.
And
Solo.
just using the gauge of how many calls we get in terms of people's dissatisfaction is typically when we get the calls. I have to say that since CNR took over the street sweeping of our city streets, I haven't gotten any calls anymore. And I used to in the past, so I think that was very positive.